Hello friends, I'm Tim Wildsmith, and these are a few Bibles from a company called Schuyler. Schuyler Bibles is one of the premier Bible publishers in the world, and I thought it would be fun to do an overview video where I show you pretty much everything they have to offer. You know, over the past 10 years, a small company in the United States called Schuyler Bibles has really risen to the top in the world of Bible publishing. Now, I would say that Schuyler, alongside R.L. Allen and Cambridge, both two companies from the UK, are kind of the big three in the world of premium Bibles. And when you think about it, Allen and Cambridge have both been around for over 100 years. But Schuyler's only been around for a little bit over a decade, so it's really impressive that they've done as well as they have. And I would say that's because they make really great Bibles with very, very incredible quality, beautiful materials, and a lot of consistency. You know what you're going to get when you order a Bible from Schuyler. But they make a lot of different Bibles, shapes, sizes, colors, as well as different typesettings. So I thought it would be fun to do an overview video of Schuyler Bibles. I had all those Bibles out here. I had to move them out of the way for this intro. An overview video to show you a little bit of everything that they have to offer. So that's what we're going to do in this video. I'm going to do an overhead now. We're going to get all these Bibles out. We're just going to tear through them. We're going to gently tear through them and show you what Schuyler Bibles has to offer. Okay, let's start with a couple of pieces of Schuyler history. This Bible right here is the Schuyler TBS Westminster. What I mean by that is open it up here, really beautiful Bible, one of their earliest editions. What I mean by that is it's from the Trinitarian Bible Society. So this is a text block that is owned by another publisher that Schuyler licensed. This is common practice. R.L. Allen does this a lot. So they licensed this from them. They had it printed and bound using their specs. So this is someone else's Bible that Schuyler produced in a premium edition and kind of gave it, you know, there's their Jerusalem cross, their different finishes. You see this has kind of tooled, actually those are slightly raised spine hubs on there. This is one of the earlier Bibles they did. This is no longer in production. They're now currently only producing Bibles that are their own text blocks that they own and they copyrighted. Does that make sense? So this is one of the early ones. They did a KJV. I think they started with an ESV. I've actually done a video on my channel with one of their original ESV Bibles. It's very similar to the Allen Reader. They did an NKJV Bible, and they also did this one over here, the NLT Caxton. So this looks much more like a modern Caxton. I think this one came out a year or two ago. This is a single column reference Bible text block from the folks at Tyndale. So you'll see here at the beginning of this Bible, it'll have New Living Translation, Tyndale Publishing House. So they licensed this from them. This was everybody's favorite premium NLT Bible for a long time. They retired this, and now they have an NLT Quentel. Speaking of Quentel, let me set this aside. I wish y'all could see this table right now. There's just an insane amount of Bibles on here. So this right here is a slate gray NKJV Quentel. So this is what I would call the flagship Bible from Schuyler. So you see NKJV, raised spine hubs, beautiful goat skin cover. Now, the Quentel is a text block that is a 2-column text block. It's an 11-point Milo typeface. It has a thin red line at the bottom, red accents all over the page, but a thin red line at the bottom, and all of your references are down here at the bottom of the page. So this is like, I believe this was their first designed from the ground up text block. So that's the Quentel. So right, you have the Quentel in a bunch of different translations. I have it right here in the ESV, the NLT. They make it in the NIV, the CSB, the NASB. They're continuing to expand the line. So you have the Quentel. That's kind of what I would call the flagship Bible. Now, I'm also going to bring this guy in here, very similar. So this is a very unique hardcover edition of something called the Canterbury. The Canterbury is a lot like the Quentel, as you can see. It's got the references at the bottom, the 2 columns, but it has these beautiful drop caps in there. This comes only in the King James Version. And then when you get to poetry, it goes to single column. So it's single column for poetry, or maybe it's just the Psalms. Is it just the Psalms? Maybe that's what it is. Very, very beautiful. So it's kind of a different typesetting. This is an edition that they did with a cowhide over board. A lot of people want to see this come back, and they have teased the idea that it is coming back at some point. So I actually have a Canterbury right here. This is their lovely black pearl calf skin. It's a different type of, it's not goat skin, it's calf skin. It's beautiful. They make this in a few different things. I'll get there in a second. But there you see 2 columns, the drop caps. So it's very similar look and feel to if you go in here to the Quentel, but slightly different, and it's only in the KJV, where the Quentel is available in lots of different translations. Now, the Quentel is really cool, as is the Canterbury. They both do this because they come in the regular full-size edition. They come in the personal size edition. One of my favorite Bibles is the personal size Quentel, and then they come in the wide margin edition. So check this out. 3 different Bibles. The text block on the inside, if I open the big one, it's the same. The same layout. It's the same on the inside of the little guy as well. What's cool about this is these are all 3 different translations, right? I've got the NIV, the NKJV. Let me do it this way. NIV on the far left, the NKJV, and then I've got the NASB. But let's say you were an NKJV fan, or maybe they only have the wide margin right now, the NASB and the ESV. But if you're an ESV fan, you could get a Quentel, a personal size Quentel, and a wide margin Quentel, and they would all be, when you turn to page, whatever this is, 751 in all of these Bibles, it would look identical. They'd be the exact same pagination. Obviously, the wide margin has this big wide margins all the way around the page, so you can take notes and things like that. It's got thicker paper, that sort of thing. But this is the series, the Quentel series. So you have personal size Quentel, Quentel, wide margin Quentel. They have a ton of different translations in the Quentel series, almost as many in the personal size Quentel, and they're continuing to expand the wide margin Quentel series. I mentioned earlier the Canterbury. They have the same thing in the Canterbury. They have the regular one, they have the personal size Canterbury, and they have the wide margin Canterbury. I would say those 2 were kind of their flagship Bibles. 2-column reference Bibles, the Quentel, multiple translations, the Canterbury, just the KJV, but then they make them in these 3 different sizes, which I think is really, really cool to just see them up close. Now, the wide margin, obviously, this is a big Bible. It's got thicker paper. It's got big, wide margins. Like, it's beautiful. If you wanted, this is definitely what I'd call a desk Bible, but if you wanted a Bible to sit at home on your desk, to write in, to take notes in, to have like a premium quality, this is absolutely gorgeous. I'm actually, by the time this video posts, this video will be gone because I gave this one away. It was donated for my Christmas Bible giveaway. So you have the wide margin. I set that one aside. You have the regular, and you have the personal size Quentel. Now, let me just show you a few different things here with regular size. So right here, I have an ESV Quentel and an NKJV Quentel. Now you're going to notice something when I turn them sideways. Boom! That ESV is way thicker than the NKJV. Why is that? Well, this is an older edition of the ESV Quentel that was made with 36 GSM paper, so it's a slightly thicker paper, and it also is the Credo edition, so it's got a bunch of church creeds and confessions in the back of it. They make some editions where they do the Credo edition where it has all of these different creeds and things in here. If I go here, it'll give you historic creeds, confessions, and catechisms. They also, earlier they used to do 36 GSM paper. Sometimes they still do 36 GSM paper, but their standard now has become a 28 GSM paper. And I just want you to see this side by side. A lot of people talk about this. You can probably feel it more than you can see it. So on your right is a 28 GSM paper. On your left is a 36 GSM paper. What you're looking at is the words on the opposite side of the page. There's just a little bit more ghosting on this right side than there is on the left side. That's going to be the main difference, and as far as what it looks like on the page. And then this is just a slightly thinner paper. So it's got a little bit more weight to it on the left. So that's the big difference. And so there are some editions out there, like this one right here, is not available anymore. They no longer make the ESV Quentel in 36 GSM. But just so you know, if you look out there on the Facebook groups and things like that, there are other editions available. They also make full Yapp editions. Do you see how the Yapp goes around and touches or almost touches everywhere? They're releasing almost everything nowadays with full Yapp options. So this would be a standard Yapp. This would be a full Yapp. It has that extra tooled line around the outside. That's one of the biggest differences that you're going to notice kind of cosmetically. On the inside, this is the NLT Quentel. But if you got the NKJV Quentel with both the regular Yapp and the full Yapp, the inside would be exactly the same. So here's a full Yapp and the RSV Quentel. So you see they have red goat skin, really beautiful. This is a full Yapp in the ESV Quentel. So there's navy goat skin, really beautiful. I obviously am a big fan of the full Yapp Bibles. I have 3 of them right there, RSV, ESV, and NLT. I guess I also have the full Yapp Canterbury as well. So now I'm going to set the full-size Quentels aside. I'm going to bring in, this is my NIV personal size Quentel. It's a favorite. Now I've got a zippered edition and a full Yapp edition. These are things that have come out recently. So again, a bunch of different translations come in the personal size Quentel. They're also starting to release a zippered option. I did a full review of this. This is a great travel Bible, so it's going to be the same typesetting on the inside, but a kind of different construction look and feel because it's zippered. And now they're also producing these full Yapp editions as well. So we've talked about the Quentel series. We've talked about the similar Canterbury series for the KJV. What other typesettings does Schuyler offer? Well, they have a couple of standard single column typesettings. One of them is called the Treveris. The Treveris is what I would call a hybrid reader format, where the verses, you see the verses are all here on the left side of the page. They're not mixed in where they actually pop up in the text. So it's a little bit more of a reader style Bible text block. It also has drop caps. They have this currently in KJV, that's what this is. And they also make an ESV edition. So that's what this is, very, very similar. So it's a single column, really fun to read. It's kind of a unique reading experience. This is called the Treveris. They're going to, I think, continue to release this in other editions. I'll set that over here. And then they just recently released the first edition of the Stridon, which is also single column, but it's a reference Bible. So it's single column with cross-references and textual footnotes at the bottom of the page, and it's a verse-by-verse Bible. They initially released it in the NASB, and they're going to also be releasing it soon in the ESV. I'm sure they'll continue to expand that as well. So again, Quentel, Canterbury, those are the two column options. This is the single column Treveris. This is the single column Stridon. So there's a couple of different typesetting options that are coming out. Last but not least, just show you a few of the different leathers. So again, I've showed you, like this is goat skin. The goat skin is going to be a real pebbly, grainy, very, very soft and floppy. They have some calfskin options. That marbled mahogany calfskin is what this is. This is actually slightly more of a burgundy color, so it's a marbled Merlot calfskin. And then again, this guy right here is the black pearl calfskin, kind of a grayish black look to it. So you have some calfskin options in addition to the goatskin options. And as of this recording, they are working on a new Italian aniline calfskin, which is a smoother, very, very kind of bespoke, unique leather option that is going to be featured in a lot more editions. This is the Tuscany color. So a lot of different options when it comes to leather, binding, depending on which one you get. You see like this one has a blue under silver art gilding on that one. I love their art gilding. It's always so beautiful. Whereas this one has a red under gold. So it kind of depends. Sometimes most of the time they match up the gilding with the leather color, but for the most part you're going to be getting red under gold is probably the standard. So that's on the NLT Quentel. But then you see like blue, you get blue under silver. Some of the stamping, like this one, they did a silver line, so the stamping is silver instead of gold, that sort of thing. But overall, just the main thing is the different typesettings. So Quentel, Canterbury, Treveris, Stridon. Then you have the different sizes: personal size, standard, wide margin, and then all of the different leathers. And then you get the full Yapps and the zippers and all that stuff. I mean, literally, can you see all of these Bibles that I have in here? They make just a ton of different things, and they're all beautifully designed and just totally, totally gorgeous. So there you have it, Schuyler Bibles. That was fun, right? You get a good overview of everything that they have to offer. Now, if you have further questions, you can drop those in the comments and I will get back to you with an answer. If you'd like to take a closer look at any of these, like I said earlier, there is a link in the video description to where I've done unboxing videos and reviews of almost all of these Bibles. Definitely hit that like button for me if you enjoyed this video. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, because I've got a lot of great Bible-related content just like this. You can also find me on Instagram and Facebook at Bible Review Blog. This was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. Thank you for joining me. I'll see you next time.